Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're talking about a literal superhero of the indoor garden, the Zamioculcas, or as we all know and love it, the ZZ plant. If you've been on the hunt for the ultimate low-maintenance greenery to just breathe some life into your home or office, well, you've just found your perfect match.
So here's the big question, right? How exactly do you care for the world's most indestructible houseplant? Now I know, that's a pretty bold claim, but trust me, the ZZ plant actually lives up to the hype. Consider this explainer your definitive playbook. Whether you're a seasoned plant parent or, someone who's accidentally turned a few too many ferns brown, we are going to master this resilient hero of the plant world together.
Now, what's really interesting about this is a brilliant insight straight from a Bulgarian scientific report. The water content in a ZZ plant's foliage reaches up to a staggering 91%. That's its actual superpower. This incredible adaptation is exactly why it's so notoriously drought-resistant. It can literally survive periods of total neglect that would easily wipe out every other plant in your collection. To give you the complete picture, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet the indestructible ZZ plant, talk about light, soil, and environment, and then master its watering routine. After that, we'll cover troubleshooting and pest control, tackle toxicity and pet safety, and wrap up with propagation and growth.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. Meet the indestructible ZZ, the superhero of houseplants.
The real secret to this plant's survival lies entirely out of sight, buried right beneath the soil. The ZZ plant grows from something called rhizomes. You can basically think of these as thick, potato-like tubers. And these rhizomes, they act as massive natural water reservoirs. So when there's a long dry spell, or let's be real, when you just forget to water it for an entire month, the plant simply draws on these hidden reserves. It's an evolutionary marvel that makes it practically unkillable.
While the classic deep glossy green ZZ plant that shoots up to 3 or 4 feet tall is totally iconic, there's actually a whole family of stunning varieties out there. Take the raven, for example. It's an absolute showstopper. Its leaves emerge lime green and then mature into this dramatic near black color. Or, if you're a bit tight on space, the Zenzi is a dwarf variety that stays neatly under 12 inches, while the Zamicro gives you a lovely bushy look under 2 feet. Oh, and if you love dynamic colors, the chameleon features bright yellow stems that slowly transition to deep green. Basically, there is a perfect ZZ for literally any space.
Section 2. Light, Soil, and Environment. This is all about creating the perfect training ground for our hero.
First up, lighting. The versatility here is just unmatched. Now, your ZZ plant is going to grow the fastest and look its absolute best in bright, indirect light. But here's the kicker. It can easily survive in a windowless office relying completely on artificial fluorescent or LED lighting. There is only one strict rule here. Keep it out of harsh, direct sunlight. Direct UV rays will absolutely scorch those beautiful glossy leaves, and nobody wants that.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we can tailor the soil to the plant's exact needs based on our scientific analysis. We're looking at 3 distinct profiles here. A classic nutrient mix of turf, leaf soil, peat, and coarse sand is rich and perfect for young, actively growing plants. Then you have the modern aerated mix, incorporating perlite and vermiculite, which is super breathable and fantastic for mature plants to prevent soil compaction and overwatering. Finally, if you're keeping your plant in a darker room, a mineral-enriched mix featuring cactus mix, active charcoal, and zeolite provides crucial protection against root rot.
So, if you're a hands-on plant parent and want to whip up your own optimal soil at home, here is a highly actionable DIY recipe. Just mix equal parts turf, leaf soil, peat, and coarse sand. That right there creates the slightly acidic environment, around a pH of 6 to 6.5, that the plant just loves. Then you add this secret ingredient, 150 to 200 grams of active charcoal per liter of the mix. This is essentially your insurance policy against root rot. And it goes without saying, but never, ever put a ZZ plant in a pot without drainage holes.
Moving right along to Section 3, Mastering the Watering Routine and Avoiding the Hero's Kryptonite. You remember those water-storing rhizomes we talked about earlier? Well, because of them, the soil absolutely must dry out completely between waterings. Overwatering is the #1 way to accidentally kill this indestructible plant. During the active growing seasons in spring and summer, you really only need to water it moderately every 2 to 3 weeks. But when winter hits, the plant goes into dormancy.
During that time, keep the soil mostly dry and stretch those watering intervals out to 4 weeks or even more. Less is definitely more when it comes to watering the ZZ.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into troubleshooting and pest control. Time to diagnose your plant's symptoms.
Yellowing leaves are usually the first alarm bell to go off, but context is everything. If only the lower, older leaves are turning yellow and dropping off, seriously, don't panic. It's just a natural aging process. But if you're seeing yellowing leaves paired with stems that are soft, mushy, and brown, yeah, that's root rot from overwatering. If this happens, you need to act fast. Pull the plant out, trim away the rot, treat it with a fungicide if you can, and repot it in completely fresh, dry soil.
Now, environmental stress leaves physical marks too. If you spot whitish patches on the leaves, your plant is getting a sunburn. You'll need to move it away from that direct light ASAP. On the flip side, if you're seeing dark spots on the leaves or the stems, your plant is literally freezing. Keep in mind, this is an African native. It loves the warmth. It absolutely cannot handle temperatures below 15 degrees Celsius, which is about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, so keep it far away from cold windows and drafty winter doors.
While ZZ plants are famous for being highly pest-resistant, they aren't totally immune. You'll want to keep an eye out for the usual suspects: aphids, scale insects, spider mites, or mealybugs. The telltale sign is usually a fine, grain-like rash or tiny web hairs under the leaves. If you spot them, don't worry. Just wash the leaves down with insecticidal soap or apply some neem oil. Just a quick pro tip: cover the soil with a plastic bag first so the soapy water doesn't soak down into the roots.
Section 5. Toxicity and Pet Safety. This is a very crucial warning for all the pet owners out there.
So the crucial point here is this: the Zamioculcas plant is toxic. Its leaves contain these microscopic, needle-like structures called calcium oxalate crystals. And unfortunately, that makes the plant pretty hazardous to both dogs and cats if they get curious and decide to take a bite.
If a pet ingests any part of this plant, the reaction is severe and it is immediate. Those tiny crystals cause intense burning, severe irritation, and swelling of the mouth and tongue. You'd likely see excessive drooling, difficulty swallowing, and it can even lead to vomiting and diarrhea. So if you have pets that love to nibble on your greenery, you absolutely must keep the ZZ plant strictly out of their reach, or honestly, maybe reconsider having it in the house altogether. It's just not worth the risk.
All right, moving on to a much happier topic in Section 6, propagation and growth, or as I like to call it, cloning the indestructible hero.
Propagating the ZZ plant is incredibly simple, and it's so rewarding. The absolute fastest method is division. Basically, when you're repotting, just gently separate those underground rhizomes if multiples have formed. Boom, you instantly have 2 plants. The other option is taking stem cuttings. Just grab a sterilized tool, cut a healthy stalk, and pop it either into a glass of water or directly into a well-draining soil mix. It's that easy. You do need to be a little patient, though, because rooting can take a few months.
To keep your original plant and your fresh new clones growing strong, you'll want to follow a basic feeding schedule. But remember, the ZZ plant is a very slow grower, meaning it needs very little fertilizer to succeed. Start in the spring by fertilizing just once a month with a balanced succulent or houseplant mix. Through the summer, keep feeding it every 6 to 8 weeks. Then, once fall hits and growth naturally slows down, stop fertilizing completely. And in winter, a total pause on feeding while it's in dormancy.
20? That's a big number. If you follow these exact care instructions, giving it the right light, setting up the right soil, and most importantly, avoiding the dreaded overwatering, your ZZ plant can live upward of 20 years in ideal conditions. Guys, that is 2 full decades of gorgeous, low-maintenance greenery purifying your air and just bringing life to your space.
From the classic emerald green to the dramatic near-black raven, nurturing this unkillable plant is just an absolute joy. So, which ZZ variety are you going to conquer next? Let us know down in the comments. Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder that the information provided in this explainer is based on general research and personal experience, and your results might vary depending on your specific home environment and care practices. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on our future deep dives. Keep growing, and I'll catch you next time.